Alright, testing. 好似好聲啊. Okay, now obviously we are still having our holiday, right? But that doesn't mean our study will stop. So everyone, hopefully you are still having a very good holiday and you still have a good holiday ahead of you, right? Now, but then obviously, as I already mentioned in our class, right? These two chapters, chapter 8 to chapter 9, are very important for the purpose of our DSE, right? Therefore, we cannot stop and we need to pre-study these two chapters even when we are having fun in our holiday. All right, now so obviously I'm going to break the videos into a lot of parts, right? Because as you can see from our notes, this is going to be a very long chapter, so we are not going to look at all of that in one video. Otherwise, right, my computer would die and I think your YouTube, right, would also die, right? Now, so for this first video, I'm going to first look at the two very simple things, right? And will be chapter 0 and chapter 1 of this chapter. Okay, now again, in case you forget, right, we had the chapters when we talk about demand, supply, and the interaction of demand and supply, right? So please, okay, even though you're having fun, please recall where we are now, right? 好啦，唔講廢話啦。Now, as a very simple revision, right? Now, let's look at two concepts, okay? Now, these two concepts are not exactly in DSE, but it's still a good thing that you should know their names first, right? Okay, now, the very first concept is a pair of terms we call visible hand and invisible hand, right? 好啦，呢個中文叫有形之手，呢個中文叫做無形之手啊。OK，咩東西嚟嘅咧？OK，有形唔係你平時講啲有形啊。OK，not looking cool. OK，but it means that something it's you can see something that you can pinpoint to, and who you can pinpoint to. Of course, we're talking about government, right？係咪個政府去叉隻手落嚟嗰隻手啊？原來所謂嘅 visible. OK，this one we are talking about the government. OK，政府叉隻手落嚟就係 visible 啦。OK。Versus what we talk about invisible, okay, refers to we can't see it, right? 咩叫 invisible 睇唔到咯？邊啲睇唔到啊？Free market force, right? Market force you can't see that. Actually, you can see that, okay? You can see it, but you can only see the result 係咪啊？你淨係見到當 market force 完咗之後咧，有一樣嘢會見到嘅，邊樣嘢啊？影響價格啦，個 price 咯，窒機添係咪啊？影響個 price 咯，OK。Price is a result of invisible hand. OK，好嘛？所以第時啦，你第時同人傾啊，係咪啊？Don't use free market force. OK，sounds so amateur, right? You use the words invisible hand. 你話我攞我隻無形之手，係咪型過你話自由市場啦？係咪啊？OK，嗱。With that said, not very important. You just need to know the terms, right? Now, then let's move on to the definition of demand, okay? In Chinese, 需求, okay? Now, obviously, in this video, I'm not going to go into the detail again that we have done in our class for like 2 to 3 lessons, right? But just remember, demand, the definition, okay, refers to a plan, okay, 係成個 plan of different quantity demanded at different prices, okay，所以講得簡單啲啦，原來 demand 嘅意思係 all QD 唔同嘅 QD at all prices 喺唔同嘅價之下。有唔同嘅 QD，OK，over a period of time，OK，得唔得？While quantity demanded is simply quantity one is willing and able to buy at one given price，見唔見啊？呢個係一個價，OK，而 demand 係所有價嘅 QD，OK，得唔得？Now obviously here we need to deal with the word quantity demand. 我咪 quantity 咯，唔係 not just any quantity, but we are talking about the quantity. One is we need two things. 有兩樣嘢啊，記住啊。First, willing 想先得，OK，你要想先得嘅，唔想嗰啲冇 demand 嘅。But then we also need to be supported by purchasing power. OK，嗱我成日都講佢哋講笑啦。Let's say, OK。I want to be 李嘉誠 係咪啊？我日日都講㗎啦，我想做李嘉誠啊。But for me, it is only a want. This is not a demand. Why? Because I only want, but I do not have the ability to be 李嘉誠 not yet. OK，所以啦，對呢個 chain 嚟講，做李嘉誠係 want。OK，嗱，所以啦 ，next time if you see your classmate, he said, I demand to be 李嘉誠, then there can only be two possibility， 有兩個原因嘅啫。第一個原因 ，OK。Your classmate must be retarded. 佢輕咗機，唔該你帶青山 ，OK？ Or second, if he is really good at economics and he still say that he demands to be 李嘉誠，我係你咧，我即刻同佢好 friend，OK？Need to be very good friend with him so that you get more money from him，OK？得唔得？明唔明啊 ？Alright, now just remember again, demand or quantity demanded. 逢親見到 demand 呢個形狀嘅字啊 ，we are talking about both want 要想 and purchasing power 得先得啊，好嘛？嗱。Here, let's not spend too much time here, okay? Just remember, if we talk about the representation, so each column here, the QD, it will be a QD at $10. This one will be QD at $8 and QD at $2. OK， 好嘛？好啦，逐行就 QD 啦。Now this whole table together， 成個 table 咧 ，because all prices showing all QDs 唔同嘅價，有唔同嘅 QD，so this is what we call demand. OK， 得唔得？ Now, what about if we don't use a table, but instead we use graphical representation? It should look something like this, OK? We have price, we have quantity, OK? Now, normally, demand would be downward sloping. Don't worry, we will talk about that in our next video when we talk about law of demand, okay? Actually, next two videos, okay? Now, let's call this our demand curve, okay? 原來啦，成條嘢就係 demand 啦 okay? Or I should use red, okay? Since I use red already, okay? This whole curve will be called demand, okay? So, each point on the curve or the straight line, 每一點啦, you will see correspond, let's say this is a price one, we will have certain quantity demanded. Then at P2, our quantity demanded will be this one. You will see something like this, right? Each point, this will be QD at P1. This will be QD at P2, etc. 原來每一點啦 okay? Point by point, that will be quantity demanded, and the whole curve, okay, or the whole straight line, okay, would be our demand, okay? 得唔得？ So remember, again, 嗱我知道好煩，但係都要講 demand, okay, and QD. First of all, both of them, there is something common. We have to want and have the ability 又要想又要得，得唔得？ But then remember, demand refers to the whole plan, all QD at all prices. show 晒咁多個先叫 demand, okay? While QD is one QD quantity, okay? At one price, 一個價之下個點叫做 QD 啦。Now, very important, right? Because later on, as we move on to the chapter, there will be questions on whether this is a change in QD or a change in demand. 所以一定要識，唔識嘅話咧，即刻就收檔㗎啦。好嘛 ？Okay, so these will be the differences between demand and quantity demanded. Okay. Now, if you're still having trouble, think of it like this, okay? Think of a puzzle. 你當我哋有副 puzzle 喺度啦 okay? So each piece, let's say this is $1. I have QD1. This is $2. I have QD2. Then all the way, we have, let's say, $100. We have QD100. Okay, 每一嚿啦 ，OK, each piece would be what we call quantity demanded， 係咪？因為如果我哋淨係對一個price 啊嘛 ，only correspond to one price，OK？ While this whole puzzle， 成副 puzzle 由唔同嘅 QD 砌埋啦 ，this is what we call demand， 砌埋晒啦，成個就係 demand 啦。Okay, so in case you're still having trouble, think of this analogy. Okay, 好嘛? Now, one more thing before I move on to the next video to talk about the law of demand. Okay, 睇住咯噃。Now, there are also a little bit of technicality we need to deal with. Okay, 仲有少少技術上嘅要處理啊，好嘛? Now, obviously, each one of us can have a demand. Let's say this is Leo's demand. 係咪？呢個係我嘅，係咪 ？And this is my wife's demand， 係咪？呢個我老婆想要幾多嘅 ？OK， now let's assume in this world 二人世界 ，only me and my wife，OK，that would be very happy， 係咪？淨係得我同我老婆，係咪？全部冇晒其他人㗎啦。So all we two add up together is what we call market。OK， 我哋兩個加埋咪 market 咯。好啦 ，therefore let's say at $1。I'm willing to buy 10. At $1, my wife also willing to buy 10. So here, when we add up together, we will have right-hand side. This is the market. This is the market total. Okay. Then here, just 10 plus 10 equals to 20. Okay. 8 plus 8 equals to 16. Then 12. Then 8 and 4, okay? This would be what we call the market demand, okay? Market demand. And graphically, okay? Graphically, now you can refer to textbook. I'm not going to waste your time here. Graphically, we call this horizontal summation, okay? 自己睇書啦，我唔嘥你時間啦呢度，好嘛？唔嘥你時間啦。Okay, 好嘛? So just a little bit of technicality I want you to know, 係嘛? Such that in exam, if you see horizontal summation, you won't just stand still, 係嘛? 唔會哇企咗你輕機啦。Okay, 好嘛? Now, with that said, that will be the first video on the concept of demand, quantity demanded, and of course, on the concepts of visible hands and invisible hands. So the next two videos, yes, the next two, not the next one, next two videos, we are going to talk about the concepts of the law of demand, okay? It's going to be rather difficult, so stay tuned, okay? And stay focused. All right, I'll see you in the next video very soon.